Good evening, I'm Ginger Casey. It's the most serious environmental health problem affecting our children, and ironically enough, it's preventable. You can refer to the wall behind you, Mr. President.
Ms. Watch 10's Ginger Casey is the only local television reporter covering the quake in L.A.
Here it is 9 o'clock at night, California time, and hundreds of people are still lining up for the free water. We have an update on a story that we've been following all week long. The rabies scare in New Hampshire has now caught the attention of Washington. Federal health officials are on their way there to investigate. I don't think news is about making people feel good all the time. I think a lot of times it's about waking them up, nudging them a little, maybe making them outraged. I think our job is really to get people to ask the questions. It's not our job necessarily to provide the answers. Up front at 5:30, where do all the stolen cars go? If you've had a car stolen during the past 11 months, it may have been found. A state police undercover operation has smashed 5 stolen car rings, allegedly operating in and around Rhode Island. Newswatch 10's I-Team reporter Jim Tarracani has been following the story since early this morning, and he's with us now. Jim, how many cars have been recovered?
A whole bunch, Ginger.
Thanks, Jim. Well, in today's raid, police also netted several handguns. Police say the handguns were just another tool of the trade for members of the stolen car ring. Now the federal government is trying to put a dent into the sale of those weapons. Rhode Island Senator John Chafee today introduced legislation to ban the sale, ownership, importation, and manufacture of handguns in the United States. And Chafee says more than 70 million handguns are in private circulation today. On Monday, we heard from the family of a man who was beaten to death at his workplace last year. Today, those people and the accused were back in court to hear a judge's sentence.
I'm sentencing the defendant.
Fernando Cardoza could be out in less than 5 years if he makes parole. Authorities say it was during a fit of anger here at Lee Engineering that Cardoza picked up a pipe and swung it at Marion Trybalski. More allegations of sexual impropriety against the church tonight. A blind minister from central Massachusetts has been indicted on charges that he sexually assaulted a 15-year-old Rhode Island boy last December. Reverend George McDermott was affiliated with the Morning Star Metropolitan Community Church in Leicester, but officials say he was not the primary clergyman at that church. Well, what are kids learning in schools today? We hear a lot about the deterioration of the education system, but what's really going on in the classroom? Team 10 reporters Diana Kelch and Jim Tarracani went undercover to find out, and Diana joins us now with a preview of her series, High School Confidential. Diana, what did you learn?
Well, Ginger, we concentrated on...
Well, it was a first for the nation, and it's right here in southern New England. Later in tonight's edition of Going Places, we'll tell you about America's first shopping mall. Also coming up on southern New England's leading news station, who really killed Marilyn Monroe? We'll hear the shocking revelations of her latest biographer. Plus, you'll get a look at the cars we may be driving in the 21st century. But first, helping you see clearer, we'll show you devices doctors use to treat people with macular degeneration. That's next after we look at some more of tonight's first birthdays. If you were told you were going to lose your central vision, how do you think your life would change? For people diagnosed with macular degeneration, they have to face the fact that they may never see things the same way again. Macular degeneration, a disease of the eye that can lead to a progressive loss of central vision. Now, as we've mentioned the past few nights, there are 2 studies underway at the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary in Boston looking into the effects of interferon and vitamins in treating macular degeneration. They're looking for participants. If you're interested, you can call them at 617-573-3533. And a health warning tonight for all of you who like to drink apple cider. The Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta have traced a 1991 case of E. coli infection to unpasteurized, unpreserved cider. Now, this is one of those cases where one bad apple can literally spoil the whole bunch. Health officials say if the cider is not pasteurized, an apple that's not washed can carry that bacteria. E. coli killed 3 people in the Northwest earlier this year. Well, still to come, the latest story about how beauty queen Marilyn Monroe died and who did it. We'll have that a little later. First, though, peace talks don't stop the shelling in Sarajevo. Dozens of American servicemen are home tonight after a long flight from Somalia. That story tops Dateline 10 tonight. Well, springtime signals the beginning of growing season for our home gardens, but if you're looking to buy vegetables at the store, this is also the perfect time to shop. Mr. Food says veggies are some of this week's best food buys. We have more to come right after tonight's edition of Going Places, Southern New England. And tomorrow on Going Places, we'll head to the Roger Williams Zoo, where you can count on the animals. Well, if Marilyn Monroe were still alive, she'd be 66 years old, 67 on June 1st. But Marilyn died 30 years ago, and her death is still a mystery. For years, we've heard reports that different people were responsible for her death. Now another theory comes forward from the author of a new book about Marilyn. He disputes the rumors that she had affairs with John and Bobby Kennedy, and that she was suicidal.
Nor did she accidentally overdose.
Well, of course, there are plenty of folks who disagree with Spoto speculation. Officially, Marilyn Monroe's death is still a mystery. Well, that's all the time we have, but don't go away. I'll be joining Doug for Southern New England's leading 6 o'clock news in just 2 minutes. Stay tuned. The news continues.